Hello and welcome to another Ludi Tonight stream on Saturday, August 10th, 2024. I am your host, We Like Rice, or Rice, for the Splatfest today, guys. But we have our Ludi match today. This is a Division 7 semifinal set between Ziphius and Rewind with 3 exclamation points. And our commentators today will be Riley and Hammy, and I'll be handing it off to them right now.
Hello everyone, I am Hammy. I am again joined here by Riley. Thanks all for coming for this Division 7 semi-final match between Ziphius and Rewind, as Rice just mentioned. Again, thank you, Rice, for the enthusiasm on Rewind's name, as it's all caps with 3 exclamation marks. And I think we're going to have a good match for us here today. Both of these teams have been performing very well so far this season, and we'll be getting into that a bit later. But Riley, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's great to be here, as always, on SplatoonTourney. And definitely excited to see how this set plays out. You definitely want to still pay attention to the lower divs, because, these are kind of like the up-and-comers. Like, you never know who's going to end up in, these guys could very well be on the grind, and you just don't even know it yet. But, yeah, kind of looking at how these teams have done, obviously, they're in semifinals, so they've been doing pretty well throughout the season. I want to mention, though, that Rewind is here just after a Game 9 victory in their quarterfinals set. So, yeah, they've got to be... they had to fight hard to get here. So, you best believe they're going to make good on that opportunity.
It's definitely one of those moments where they have that sigh of relief they managed to get that Game 9 win, but they're not done yet because... As you mentioned, we're in the semifinals now, and they're going to have a tough opponent against them with Ziphius. Both these teams, again, performed fairly well throughout the season, though I do believe that Rewind actually... Rewind was 4-1 in their original group, whereas Ziphius went 5-0. So if you're a math person, then Ziphius is probably your team to win, but that's all in the past. These two teams are here now, and they're against each other, and both these two teams have a lot to prove. As you mentioned, in Division 7, this is a very interesting spot in our kind of made-up numbers of positions, as there's a lot of Division 7 capped tournaments. So these teams are trying to prove that they're the top of the FTIU league, they're the top of LSL, and these are your up-and-comers who will soon be your top low-ink teams, and these teams that are trying to prove themselves in our low-level competitive scene. So very interesting stuff we're going to see, hopefully, and I'd love to see what these two teams can do, because I'm personally not very familiar with these teams, so I'd love to see what they can show me today.
I'm not super familiar with them either, but yes, I just checked the bracket, and everything you said is true. But Ziphius is going into this undefeated from group stage. Rewind went 4-1. It is also notable how Ziphius, during the group stage, got a Game 9 victory over KO Patrol, which is the team that I believe won Div 7 last season. But yes, the only thing I can say about these teams is that I think Ziphius might have recently gotten a podium placement in LSL. If not in gold bracket, then some other bracket, but I could be tweaking. I don't know. Oh, well,
Yes.
But
and
yes,
sorry, you go.
I didn't have anything to say. Yeah.
Oh,
But,
well, we do have our two teams. I do believe they're getting ready and getting in the room. I unfortunately did not pull up the map list before because I'm great at planning. There it is. Perfect. Thank you, Rice. We are going to Rainmaker Undertow for our first match. I feel this is a fairly popular map mode. I feel like, especially in this level, these players should be fairly comfortable with this, and I think that this should be a good opening game for us here.
I definitely have to agree. It's kind of one of I feel like this is kind of the Splatoon 3 Rainmaker map. If not Scorch, then it's definitely this. Even though it kind of falls into the unfortunate meme that Splat 3 stages get slapped with, where it's yeah, there's multiple routes, but really, there's only one, in practice. Because the other way, you're just hindered by uninkable surfaces, and it's slower than you'd like. But, it's still a pretty fast-paced back-and-forth map, and that's what'll get you far.
Though that being said, it's important not to discredit that alternate route, because if you're on the defense and you're heavily focusing your right side and defending that, the enemy team who's pushing can just walk through the left side and get a lot of points very quickly. So it's important to still defend it and keep it in mind. But yeah, there's really only one main route for these long, steady, slow pushes. But it's important to still have the options available and be able to kind of catch your opponents off guard. And hopefully that's the kind of plays we like to see in this level, is being able to be one step ahead of your opponent and being able to catch them off guard, being able to make better plays and just be able to outpace your opponent every step of the game.
Definitely, for sure. As far as, like, basically, not being super familiar with these teams, I'm not entirely sure what type of weapons we will be seeing, but, you know, AoE weapons such as rollers, sloshers, blasters, et al. Are going to be very strong here. But going into the game now, we'll be seeing if there's any sort of off-meta weapon to look for. I mean, I'm already seeing a machine on the badges, so let's see what they bring out.
We do see here Ziphius coming in with a Tri-Slosher, Wellstring, Custom Range Blaster, and Carbon Deco. On the side of Rewind, we do see Ink Brush coming out along with a Headit with the Crab and the Vanilla Gal and the Vanilla Dynamo. So very different comps coming from both sides. And we'll see which team gets here, as Rainmaker's already popped, and Ziphius already kind of walking forward, trying to do some damage here in Rewind and trying to push them back right within the first 15 seconds of the game.
Yeah, I know AoE is strong here, but Ziphius is coming through with almost an exclusively AoE comp, and they've already got Rewind on the back foot here, as the Range Blaster here could very well just pick up the Rainmaker and get moving, as the Tri-Slosher is continuing to, you know, keep up the frontline power. But they do manage to take out the Gal, and they keep them 2 down. They could very easily get this checkpoint here if Jose is able to, you know, kind of clean up the remaining members, and it's just the Ink Brush alive.
See, Ziphius is playing a very slow and steady game here. They got 3 down, and they didn't rush for that Rainmaker checkpoint. Instead, opted to get another couple of picks before getting that right check. And we see here Smoikent on getting 3 picks there on the Blaster. E-Man walking with the Rainmaker, getting a potential almost a KO down to 10 points after only a minute of the game. Ziphius with a very convincing opening, and still just in the spawn of Rewind here. Rewind are kind of, you know, trying to play it slow and sharp to try to make sure that they don't get KO'd, and they just have to do some crown control here as they do clear Ziphius out of their base, and they're going to look to drop this Rainmaker, and now they're on the back burner, but they still got plenty of time to take a lead here.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely shout out to the Brush for not getting impatient there when, you know, stopping the push, able to get 2 off of that. Mid-control looking fairly split at the moment. They opt to let it reset, and, you know, 1 down, make that 2 down on the side of Ziphius, so now is a potential time to get moving. But when you're staring down this Wellstring, that's not exactly what you want. The Dynamo, unfortunately, going down to the Carbon as they are forced to retreat, but it seems that Rewind is very slowly kind of moving their way forward here.
They're moving their way forward slowly, but unfortunately that's not a great position for Rewind, as Ziphius are just buying time right now. This may look like a neutral map right now, but it's in the favor of Ziphius. I mean, sure, the 3 members just went down, but Rewind in a 4v1 still aren't pushing up. They're still kind of holding that mid area, and Sluggy on this Wellstring taking down, I believe, 2 members just right there in the middle, and just keeping a lot of pressure by themselves, sitting in that snipe area, just buying time, keeping pressure, and Ziphius just aren't letting Rewind get any footing here. It seems like a very calm and steady gameplay coming in. Though we do see Ray actually getting a couple picks on the snipe, and that might be the opportunity they need, but once again, Rewind isn't able to get in here on Ziphius.
Yeah, that was like a triple up there, but it didn't seem like their teammates were really in a position to respond immediately. Jose here up on the Carbon, just kind of pushing back the Brush and allowing their other 2 teammates to come in and push them back even further, and that will facilitate another push here. We heard the Ultra Stamp come out, but that kind of just got chucked away. But Jose still keeping up the frontline potential here, able to get a pretty clutch trade. The cooler does come out, but it doesn't seem like anyone except the Dynamo is going to be able to really take advantage of that. Everybody on Rewind is just going down, and Sluggy carrying the Rainmaker is able to get way up in front. That's a pretty good position to be in. This could be a potentially devastating push, and thankfully they see the bomb, so that almost ended prematurely. But yeah, things really not looking great for Rewind right now.
Very calm plays coming here from Ziphius. You see, again, just taking their time with it, going very slow, and not letting Rewind able to take those steps forward and kind of do anything. So Ziphius making sure they don't make any wrong steps, which isn't allowing Rewind for any space. Now Rewind does start to get this map control back. They do drop the Rainmaker, able to stop out that push, though. with only a minute and 10 seconds left, Xiphius has done a great job at just stalling, as Rewind haven't even gotten a single point on the board. Now, they're trying to get points. They do manage to start getting a push here on this left side. The Kraken is behind the Rainmaker, and that Zuka does shut it down. A very well use of the coordinated specials from Xiphius, though it is now a 2v2. A lot of chaos. 7 people down. It's just the Brush. They throw the hammer. They need to pop this Rainmaker and get this checkpoint immediately before E-Man can get back to stop it. And I do believe they will get this checkpoint. They don't! E-Man gets the very important trade, manages to get one. Sluggy also takes down the Roller, and 2 down on Rewind. They might not be able to get this checkpoint with 30 seconds left in the match.
Now, this is the part where I'd say, like, oh, yes, I mean, maybe they could, but you have the Wellstring up there, and that's going to be constantly, contesting Pop here. It's definitely, worse situations to be in, but yeah, you definitely, I don't know. They're 2 down on the side of Rewind, but Omega's all the way up here. They might be able to get the Rainmaker out of this position here. They do take it down, but now you're basically all the way back in mid, so you've got to pretty much do that entire sequence again. It is 2 down on the side of Xiphius, though, but Jose does get the kill on the Gal, and someone able to come through the back end and take down the Rainmaker. So that is Xiphius taking that game 1.
Very strong performance from Xiphius, and a very interesting performance as well. I feel like usually we see a lot of teams here in Div 7 playing a lot faster. They play very aggressive, very quick, and very almost like they like to just go too fast for their own good almost. And I find Xiphius playing a very slow, confident, steady game. You see a lot of stalling, a lot of just buying time after that first initial push because they knew they didn't really need to do anything drastic. And on that one time they had to defend, we see E-Man playing that slosher well, getting in as fast as possible, walking in a straight line, and Sluggy playing that bow really well and getting into a good position to stop everything that happens after E-Man dies. So very coordinated plays and just overall a great performance from them. And Rewind were playing very well, but after a huge push in the first minute, it's really hard to come back from that sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure. They definitely had an opportunity, but, when you only have a minute, you tend to play your nerves kind of tend to get to you, and, things just don't pan out. But, we've still got, at the bare minimum, 4 more games to kind of course correct. And, next up we're going to Zones Mahi. Now, I'm kind of curious to see if we'll kind of stick with these same comps, because that comp was very strong for a map like Rainmaker Undertow, but Zones Mahi is like an entirely different game. AoE doesn't really feel quite as strong here because it's pretty flat, or at least the part of the map. The areas of the map that actually matter are pretty flat, so you may very well expect to see kind of your more typical, shooterish comps here. I would maybe expect the Brush to do well, particularly Brush Nouveau, because you have those mines, which are very effective on zones. But I don't know. That's kind of another thing about these lower division Ludi maps or Ludi sets that you always love to see, is you get to see these off-meta picks. Because, when you're at this level, you can pretty much make anything work. So, if you're the one Wellstring fan in the world, well, you definitely want to tune in here.
Yeah, we can definitely see a lot of those very interesting weapons, and it's what makes it more exciting, and you never know what's going to be coming. And both these teams, there's a lot of options here because, especially with the Splat Zones, you can be a much more stationary comp if you need to. We saw in that Rainmaker game, both teams running very mobile weapons and mobile comps that can get in and fight. But in Splat Zones, especially looking at Xiphius with their very slow and steady pace, this is a great position to bring in a strong backline weapon, or a great position to bring in those weapons that can hold out a zone and just not want to move at all, and maybe even things like tents and things that just stall for time and just make space for yourselves, as we do see both of the teams loading in here with their comps.
Going into it here, and we are seeing we see the Range Blaster switch out for the Custom Explosion, and a Paintbrush Nouveau coming out from Ray. Those are the only changes we see here, but what a change those are. I am personally a fan of Paintbrush Nouveau. It's probably one of my favorite just for fun weapons. So, honestly, that's a pretty good comp adjustment, because you have the point sensor and, the missiles, and that can be really helpful against weapons such as Tri and Carbon. So I think this was a smart decision. Rewind does get the first cap on zone here. Ray getting a clutch pick on that Wellstring, and they're not letting up this aggression at all. They do go down, and it seems like Siphius might have a shot at zone here, but no, Jose getting super snuffed out there, forced to jump back. They're putting up a solid fight for control of zone, and they will get that, but still, that was a very strong opening from Rewind.
Within 40 seconds, we are getting the water levels changing thanks to Rewind taking the zone, though Siphius now in control, and as I mentioned earlier, taking a very slow comp slow and steady and secure comp with that Explosher, trying to utilize more range over Rewind, though Rewind, again, controlling the zone, seeming to control the map so far, and playing that more aggressive comp, they're able to start outpacing Ziphius. As Commentators curse, everyone in Rewind goes down, Ziphius does take the zone, and now Ziphius is trying to set up in a good position here to kind of lock out Rewind, as they're only about 15 ticks away from taking the lead, so bit of a scary position for Rewind, though they do have to kind of get in here and find some position to kind of push forward. We see Omega here on the Gal, unfortunately going down, not getting any value with those whales. So we just see the Crab from Rays trying to just apply some pressure, though Ziphius does take the lead as the penalty comes through, and now Rewind are on the offensive.
Yeah, Rewind, it seemed like they all went down at the same time, but they did have the cooler, so, you know, that's okay in that scenario. But yeah, they did a good job of kind of coordinating everything there with the cooler and the crab and also the whale. They're going down one by one again, but, you know, sometimes applying penalty is more than enough. So, you know, Rewind was able to kind of take back the lead here. And, you know, even still, it's only down to 56. That's not really a scary lead at all. But, you know, Xavius almost through with their penalty. Jose trying to stop here, but they managed to hold on to lead just barely and reapply penalty. Ray does go down there. E-Man going for the solo play, but Omega on their own solo play able to bring that to a stop, and they're eating through their penalty. They could very well extend this lead by quite a bit further if they're able to move up and take space effectively.
Rewind definitely want a bigger lead here. We've seen so far in the first 3 minutes of this game, both teams have kept very close scores, usually within 1 or 2 points before trading over the zone control. Though Rewind does now get about 20-point lead, but of course the zone does flip over now to Ziphius as they do take map control. And now once again, both teams just trading back and forth their positioning, and Ziphius are now once again defending the middle of the zone. Rewind are going to have to try to take back some space as Ziphius has just started counting down. We do see a couple members of Rewind going out on the islands, a very strong position to start from, though they do get countered by Ziphius to take out one member, and both teams kind of trading out here as Ziphius is now buying time as they're counting down. They take him the lead, and with 30 ticks left, they're looking to try to KO here.
Oh yeah, for sure, and they also have that triple splashdown at the ready, which can just basically be a nuke on zone. Omega on the unfortunate receiving end of that. Rewind has about 10 ticks to get in. It's just Reese here on the crab tank, but that's not really able to do much on its own. The other members kind of taking their time getting out of spawn, unfortunately not able to get there in time, and that is Ziphius taking up a game 2. Although, I will say, in a much more hard-fought game 2.
Definitely. This game was a lot closer, though. Ziphius, again, using that slow and steady pace they have and the range and ability of that Wellstring and the Explosher to push back the roster of Rewind here. You can see they're stuck on their island, stuck on their base, because the Explosher of Smokey Ant and the Wellstring of Sluggy able to just keep people out, while you see Jose here with the Carbon just able to pick off anyone who may slip past, and it's a very strong comp to run against a team like Rewind, where they don't have that backline, they don't have as much range, and they have to kind of walk forward in order to be able to do anything.
Yeah, I thought for sure that Jose was going to go down to that killer whale, but unfortunately they just weren't. Like, unfortunately, Omega just couldn't get a whole lot of value of that just based on the nature of positioning. And, you know, Rewind, you know, they kind of might have gotten a little bit spread out as they came out of zone, but still, definitely well played on the whole. I was personally very much impressed with Ray on the paintbrush. Paintbrush, excuse me. Just kind of getting kind of clutch picks all around. And honestly, I do think it was still a smart comp adjustment. Just kind of one unfortunate play can kind of make things fall apart. But they still have time to course correct. And Shipshape Cargo Company. Now, this is one where I'd be feeling a little bit nervous because this is, once again, one of those really strong AoE maps. I would not be surprised if they bring back the range blaster, but that Carbon and that Tri-Slosher are going to be just as strong here.
Yeah, and this map definitely also is very good for weapons that have a bit of that range. That first checkpoint, very important checkpoint to hold, and being able to contest that bridge, having something that can get across that. Usually a Zuka is a great ability, as well as anything that can hold a tower, you know, getting some strikes across that, getting a Booyah across that, and both teams here are going to want to look to control that first checkpoint and be able to bring weapons that can do that. And we've seen weapons from Xiphias that are able to hold that position well. They've had the Zuko with the Carbon Deco. They've brought out the Explosher, which has the range, though I don't think we'll see the Explosher here because it's not a great weapon for the map and mode. But and even that Wellstring from Sluggy. I know Sluggy is a very long-time bow user and will definitely probably be bringing that weapon out again, and I think it'll do a lot here. So it's up to Rewind now to find the adjustments. Maybe they need to bring more range to their comp. Maybe they need to be even more aggressive and take more space with that short range comp they're running, and find some kind of value to get them into this tower and be able to hold those checkpoints.
Yeah, absolutely. Personally, I kind of hope we see more of that paintbrush play because, you know, missiles maybe not quite as dominant as Splat 2, but can definitely be very quite strong on tower as well. Going into the map, though, pretty much, you know, like I said, expecting about the same comp from Xiphias. Okay, no, we've got the Wiper and the Machine in lieu of the Carbon and other, like the Range Blaster and whatnot. But, you know, Machine also super strong here. Also, the Octobrush. So Ray has speed ran, whatever, like all the brushes. So, good on them.
We do love to see someone who can play all of the brushes, not just one of them. I know I can't do that. I only play Ink Brush personally. And we do also see, yeah, the Booyah coming out from Xiphias instead of the Zuka. An interesting swap. It's more of a tower control specific pick, though the Zuka does have some value here. So Xiphias already pushing that through that first checkpoint, and that's not a position you want to be in. If you're Rewind, as I was saying, it's a very important checkpoint to hold, but Xiphias just walking through it completely in the first 30 seconds of the match, already getting a soda out in tower, all four players in the court, and Rewind on a very stressful defense here as one member goes down. Peach is unfortunately getting picked off, and as well, Reese going down. Sluggy is just standing on this tower, just providing so much pressure with this Wellstring. Ray does drop onto the tower, doesn't get the pick on Sluggy. They manage to get away, though Ray does get another pick and trades out with a second one, actually. So a very important trade there. Now, Rewind lost all their checkpoints within a minute, and they're down to 8 points. This is looking like game one, where Xiphias just want to buy as much time as possible now and just kind of relax and not let Rewind get a footing here.
Oh, for sure, but you did see that Rewind is having a pretty solid defensive response here. Peaches on the Dynamo does get caught out, and E-Man is doing a good job cleaning up on the Tri-Slosher here, getting a triple, actually. So that may very well be, you know, resuming the push here. Can they get the delayed quad? No, he chooses to jump out. Oh, well. But yeah, still, that was a pretty solid defensive response, and, you know, it's still relatively early in the game, showing that they are, in fact, still in this, and in fact, 2 down with Sluggy in a rather unfortunate position here. I mean, Omega just has to not get super thirsty, especially with Jose on the back foot here. So now, with both of them alive, it's rather, you know, precarious situation to be in, but still, they are showing that they are still in this. Though they do force Jose to jump back, so, I mean, if they can take out E-Man, they'll be in a pretty solid position here.
And we do see Xiphias all holding their very preferred positions here. E-Man usually sticking up to those sides, Sluggy back in the court ready to support. And as I say, the roster of Xiphias is just trying to buy as much time as possible, whereas Rewind has to get the picks. We see Ray's coming in for getting a double kill on that Zipcaster with the brush, and Rewind finally looking to get this first checkpoint. They do have 2 members of Xiphias down, so it does indeed look like they get this first checkpoint, and they're looking to make a big push of their own because they almost essentially need the KO if they want to win this game.
Yeah, but they got a delayed wipe, and they are very quickly putting points down on the board, and that's still 2 down on Xiphias. If they can take down the Machine here, that would be huge, and it's just E-Man coming out of spawn. Now, he is coming on the top right, and that's not a great spot to be in, especially as they take down Reese, but still, they're down to 18. Can they bring this guy down? Oh, that's a clutch triple from E-Man, and that's pretty much that push coming to an end. But at the same time, Ray's here, able to potentially provide jumps, but they are forced back, and now Xiphias is going to have to take mid off this.
Though a very important thing to notice is that Rewind did get that second checkpoint, so the next push they make is just a straight shot for the lead, which is a very important position you want to be in. You got to take it step by step, and They gotten every step but the lead, and they do manage to get a wipeout onto Xiphias. So now Xiphias is running back in to get to defense as fast as possible. See Peaches and Omega walking across the bridge trying to get a good position, though Omega does go down. Peaches in the pit, which is a very precarious spot to be in as they're getting rushed at. Ray over here very far into the defensive side of Xiphias, trying to push through, getting the zip out now. Just trying to chase Sluggy around and not give them any ability to push the tower, and they do get them down, as well as E-Man going down. Just a back and forth here. Rewind pushing to the lead, unable to get it. We see Jose able to push the tower back by themselves and get another pick, and Jose managing to sneak in and just prevent the tower from getting that lead, in a very close offense for Rewind, but not able to get it just yet with a minute left in the game.
Yeah, I think that's the second... I think Jose just got a quad coming off in. I think that was the second time in a row where he was like the last... Like, there was just one player of Xiphias left alive, and then that one player ended up just walking all over everybody and stopping them from getting lead. And so, you know, Xiphias definitely strong in the clutch factor. E-Man, though, getting a little bit thirsty. All the members of Rewind are up on this top right area here. They need to stop Jose, and Ree is doing a good job of doing that, but now they gotta get moving. If they can stop E-Man... Oh, not quite. They're kind of behind them, but E-Man just once again tearing through them. That is... Okay, that's like a quad, basically.
That's a number of kills there from E-Man. Sometimes stopping a Tri-Slosher in a good position can be a very hard thing to do. And with 5 seconds left, Omega needs to get on this tower, and then unfortunately gets picked. There's not enough time for anyone else to get to the tower. That will be game 3 going to Xiphias. But a very strong effort from Rewind. Again, getting very close to a lead, but Jose on that wipe are able to get a lot of picks and just able to kind of outpace what Rewind was bringing there at the last second. And it's just an unfortunate position for Rewind where you're playing really strong, and this game and the last have been very close, but Xiphias just ends up getting the win, and that's all it comes down to. And you know, at this point, you have to kind of make sure that your mental game isn't affected, and you're able to continue to play at this level and push past and start getting those wins.
Yeah, this is... I will say, though, Rewind is definitely doing better in each game, you know, than the last. I can feel them getting kind of more comfortable, so we'll kind of see how this affects the trajectory of the games to come. But this is one of those cases where I'm really sad that you can't see the KAs, because there is no way that E-Man didn't drop like a 30 bomb in this game, because my goodness.
And especially if you add in those soda assists as well. And as you say, Rewind has a lot of good things going for them. Ray is getting a lot of value out of those zip casts and being able to get behind the enemy lines. I know Peaches and Omega have been working together really well and making combo plays and just fighting those 2v1s and getting consistent picks onto Xiphias. But in the end, Xiphias keeps getting a really strong opening push and just giving Rewind trouble getting in and just playing a very solid defense. So we are now going to game 4 of this best of 9, though, which would be Clam Blitz on Barnacle and Dime. I know a lot of people in chat are very, very happy and they see Barnacle come up. And I'm also personally a fan of this map and mode. I think it's a very interesting one. And what kind of comps do you think we're going to see here, Riley? Do you think there's any important changes either of this team should be making here for this map mode?
Anything, we might see more of a Game 2-esque comp with maybe the Explosher, because, you know, triple splashdown is very stupid. But I don't know. This is kind of a midpoint between kind of Mahi and the other maps we've seen thus far, where, like, yeah, it's better for AoE, but not as good as some of the other maps. But I don't know. I think this is just kind of one of those map modes where everything can thrive in a vacuum. So, I mean, we're coming into the match here. I can't imagine we're going to see, like, any sort of massive shakeup, but definitely, you know, interested in seeing this. Coming in, though, we see a 52 deco and a sploosh coming in from Xiphias, so maybe these guys are just flexing around. And also Ray going from the order brush to the regular octave brush. I find it weird when people do that.
Ray is truly trying to show us every brush possible in this set, and yeah, Xiphias is making some interesting changes to their comp. Though now we see Xiphias is also making a very strong, more aggressive opening here. E-Man on the side, though, do get picked out. Rewind kind of turtled and got them down. Ray walking in, getting Smokey in, and continuing on to Sluggy. Sluggy manages to run away, but Ray again proving they're able to get behind enemy lines and just create some distractions, giving Rewind a lot of map control here. And They're looking to pass some clams. They do make a ball. They're looking to get a push here, and hopefully they're able to get this ball in. They do. They get the first break in less than 40 seconds. A very good opening for Rewind. This is what you want to see, is to get a couple of clams in, but it looks like that may be the push there as the members all die and jump out at 65. Nothing to scoff at. Very good, especially for the first minute, but Ziphius now getting uncontested map control here as they get a lot of clams, they get some sodas out, and they're looking to make a push of their own.
Yeah, it's one of those cases where it's definitely a better lead than just getting a clam in, but, you know, that's still nowhere near, like, impassable here. But it is 3 down on the side of Ziphius, but Jose on the back foot. They're in a solid position to win that fight, but Peach is doing a good job of, you know, helping out their teammate here, and it seems like they're going to hold up mid-control off of this. Not to mention, they do have the crabs to potentially facilitate the push. Right here in a solid position, able to just barely get the trade onto Jose as the Sploosh here is forced to back up here. But they do have the stamp ready. You definitely don't want to be clustering. You want to make sure that guy's dead before you do any sort of crazy movement. And they're sharking into mid here. We might see, yep, stamp carnage, here we go. But Ray is able to stop it fairly quickly.
We see the lag trail coming out from the stamp there on the overhead camera, as well as now 2 members of Rewind are down. Ziphius all 4 up, and they're walking in trying to make a push. They have 2 balls coming in. They get 1. They get both of them. That is a lead immediately. That's why you usually want to get past that 60-point threshold when you get that first push. And Ziphius now backing off because they know they don't have the position and just kind of taking that lead and running with it, trying to just keep map control and get some picks. So they do go 2 down, and Rewind looking to take this map control, and they're going to try to, you know, generate a new push, because they, even if they break the barrier, they still need at least 1 more clam to take this lead back, and it will not be a very big lead, which can be kind of scary in Clam Blitz sometimes, because the points can flip very, very quickly if you get a lot of economy. And that's what we'll have to see from these teams, is just which team can control the economy better and get that one nice push that will give them a huge lead.
Oh, for sure. And they're just throwing out the curling bombs. They've got to be chipped to hell right now. But they've got the Zipcaster ready, as well as, you know, they're pretty close to their cooler. The Zipcaster does go down. But, you know, they're in a pretty solid position here. Again, just 1. They just have to open basket and get 1 clam in, and they'll have lead. At least, you know, the bare minimum of 1. But that's 2 down on the side of Rewind here. But Ray's coming in, but they get swamped by 3 of the members of Ziphius, and they're all pushing up together. Smoky Ant here kind of taking this off angle. Jose kind of following up with them, forced to burn the crab to sort of defend. They do take out the backline, though, and they're starting to get some progress in mid. 2 down once more, but the stamp at the ready. That's not really what you want to see, but Rees gets a clutch pick on it. They are definitely able to move up now.
Splatlings are very strong against hammers walking at them. My team personally has a Splatling main, and she loves to talk about how hammer's so easy to kill. See, Rees, again, killing the hammer, though it is a trade this time, so a bit more value from the Sploosh on the side of Ziphius, but still not as much as you want to see. And now Ziphius just preventing the barrier break here, letting that clam despawn and pushing out to mid now. Not as solid as a defense we've seen from Ziphius in previous matches, but still a solid enough defense nonetheless to keep this lead with a minute left in the game now. See Rewind starting to scramble a bit. They need to get some clam economy. They do not have a pity clams. They need to generate a power clam just from picking up clams, and all the while trying not to get picked off. We see Jose going in, does get picked off. E-Man's walking in as well, trying to get Peaches here and pressuring 3 people in the snipe. He does go down, so Rewind now, if they really need to start passing some clams and make a ball and start to get some mid pressure here, because they're running out of time.
Yeah, Jose basically got a 5-man about a minute ago because Rewind was able to open the... Okay, never mind, there's more important matters here. There's the stamp, and they get 2 down. And that is more or less the end of the push, unless they get through with the Zipcaster. But yeah, Rewind got really impatient with starting a push a while ago, and Jose was able to stop it almost on his own. They do go down. It's a 2v3 situation, though. Rewind just needs to focus on staying alive and getting picks. E-Man is in a very solid position. The crab is going to go down. They do take them out, though, but they need to stop the Sploosh and everyone else at hand. The Wavebreaker does come out, which is yet another obstacle. Jose in a solid position on top of this snipe here. If they're able to go down, that's going to be it. But Peaches does go down. Omega and the crab are on top of each other. If they're able to get like 1 clutch bomb pick, that could be it. That's 2 down. They get it open. Can they get one clam in? They don't have any. Are they able to get back in time? I'm not sure. They get it in, and they are on the board.
very, very scary position for Rewind there. Unable to get that power clam in for so long, but Ree's walking in and getting it right before it despawns, opening the barrier right before overtime ends, and then Ray able just to clear out that area with that one singular clam under the basket. So not as confident of a win that you'd want to see from Rewind, but this is the win they needed. They needed this mental reset. They needed this momentum shift. They needed to prove that this is not going to be a sweep. We are here to fight. And they're still down by 2 wins from Xiphias, but they're still in the set.
Oh, for sure. And, I mean, this is what I've been saying. Every single game is, like, Rewind is playing more confident than the last. And, you know, this is kind of what we're talking about. They prioritized getting picks instead of just diving directly into the... diving directly into objective, because if they had done that, they would have just died all over again. But in fact, I believe what kind of happened is that Clam spawned on top of Ray, so he was able... Like, it seemed like he just had one out of nowhere here. We could have seen that again, but I don't know. Now, here's the problem. It's Rainmaker Manta, and at least in my opinion, this is the slosher map, especially the tri-slosher map. And it's definitely not bad for other weapons like machine, range, carbon, etc. So Xiphias, they're going to have a good time here. I'm almost certain of it. But, you know, Rewind, I wouldn't count them out either. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah, this is definitely a very strong slosher map, as you say, and we have seen multiple sloshers from Xiphias, though. Sometimes there are things that can counter it. Myself, I used to be a slosher main, and I personally was not a fan of Mata Maria because there was a lot of different comps and weapons that are able still to push you back, and sometimes you're able just to get swamped, though we have seen the confidence and the coordination that Xiphias has had, so Rewind are definitely going to need to have a strong reaction here and potentially use the momentum they have from the previous win to kind of go forward and get some good pushes here. And what we're going to have to see from Rewind as well is a solid opening. The only win we've seen for Rewind, it wasn't due to their initial push, but they got the first push, and that was the important part. They need to open before Xiphias can open and try to carry that momentum throughout the rest of the match. So we're going to have to see a very important opening for Rewind here, potentially getting the pop and being able to get that first checkpoint if they're able to pull off a good play.
Definitely, but, you know, I think the Tri and the Carbon, like, they're strong in this map because they can get in super quickly, and honestly, for that reason, I wouldn't entirely be surprised if we see the Sploosh make a comeback. Well, I guess it's not really a comeback if it just happened. The point is, I think everything Xiphias could possibly do here has the potential to be strong on this map. But, you know, if Rewind can just get in and possibly go for a flank before Xiphias can, then they're going to be in a pretty solid position. But, you know, it's kind of hard to say. And, you know, this is one of those cases where, again, it's Rainmaker. The map could very easily be over in like a minute or less, depending on, you know, how lucky they get with kind of staggering the opponent. So, I mean, I suppose we'll see when it gets there, but kind of hard to say. Do you expect any real, like, comp changes?
No, there's nothing much I can think of. I think that both teams have kind of shown that they're fairly confident what they've been playing. I know that Xiphias has given us a couple of very interesting picks, but a lot of what they've been playing so far works perfectly here, but I think the importance is how they play it. Again, like you said, we're going to need to see Rewind do a very strong opening flank. We're going to need to see Ray on that Octobrush walking straight through, getting to that cut, and being able to get above Xiphias and maybe take out a person or two in a solid trade. But ultimately, we're just going to see how the teams play this and how this momentum will work out now that Rewind finally has a win and is finally able to do something here. But either way, both teams just have to play this solidly, and we're going to have to just see what they do.
Definitely. I'm kind of curious to know if they have, like, if there's some sort of swapping out going on at the moment, or potentially, yeah. But
it's definitely possible. They do have 2 6-man rosters, so.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if there was going to be swapping out, you think you'd see it by now. Like, kind of trying to optimize, your loadout for every single map. Personally, back when I, played Ludi and really like sweated it in the Splatoon 2 days, that's pretty much the type of stuff I would have done, which, I mean, you have these extra resources at your disposal. I see no reason to not use them personally, but like you do do what you can with what you have where you are, basically. But regardless, moving in.
Yeah, we are now loading into our match. Finally here. Sorry, we're talking over each other. Happens sometimes. We're both excited to get into this match because I think this will be a very good one. We see Xiphias over here coming in with very similar weapons we've seen before. They do have the vanilla range blaster this time, and then Rewind coming in with very familiar comp, but they do bring in the vanilla slosher, which is a new weapon we haven't seen so far this set. So very interesting picks from both sides, and we'll see how they run it.
Yeah, indeed. Both teams introduced a new player. We've got Jose has gone out on the side of Rewind Jose has left Xiphias for this Arc Soul player, and then we had somebody swap out for this Zedra player on the Bucket. So, definitely respectable, because again, Bucket can be strong here. Both teams, though, definitely taking their sweet time pushing objective here. We see them pop out all their specials, though. Rewind grabs Rainmaker first. Omega getting into a solid position here. Peaches definitely gonna probably get checkpoint here. In a solid position here on top of this mass. That's a great place for a roller to be, and that's 2 down on the side of Xiphias. That's a wipe! Omega gotta get this Rainmaker popped and make sure that everybody gets in before they start pushing again, because this could very well lead to a staggering situation. Smoky Ant here on the Gal, though, getting the drop in, but they get very easily overwhelmed. E-Man, though, in a solid position as well on the back of this wall, though. They're probably going to be able to stop this if they have enough ink. But yeah, down to 11, just barely over a minute into this game. Shoes on the other foot now.
A very solid opening from Rewind for sure, though I have to eat my words. They did the opposite of what I told them to do. I said that Ray should go in and do a solid opening flank, and instead they subbed Ray out for Zedra on the Bucket and just brought that strong slosher to the map as you were talking about previously. So Rewind, though, getting a similar push to what we've seen from Xiphias in a few of these matches, getting to 11 points on the first opening push, and now they have 3 members down on Xiphias, and Rewind is controlling the map, and just they're starting to toy with Xiphias and starting to play solid, play confidently, and buy time to run down this clock after a whole 2 minutes. And very reminiscent of what we've seen from Xiphias, but on the other side of the board now.
Yeah, and they're not letting up either. Everyone's kind of on opposite sides of the map. Reese is rushing it, and they're gonna dunk it. That's their second game on the board.
The momentum shift from Rewind, that's what you need sometimes. You need that one win, and the tables can turn. And especially where both teams subbed out a player, it's different from what we see sometimes in some of these longer sets where the teams start to learn each other and figure out how each other's plays. But with both teams swapping out players and starting to adjust their comps and adjust their play styles, it's like a new set, and Xiphias wasn't able to respond to what Rewind brought, and a very, very quick and confident KO from Rewind, bringing them within 1 of tying the set, as we're now 3-2 for Xiphias.
Yeah, they honestly, Xiphias, they had pretty much a strictly AoE comp, but I think Rewind pretty much just straight up outplayed them there. And as you saw, there was like a solid 40 seconds at the beginning. Here we see Reese jumping out. Fortunately, the range blaster wasn't really in the right position to get that pick, but regardless. There was a solid 40 seconds at the start of that match where nothing happened, but I think that's what did it, because Rewind was just playing for picks. Like, they weren't going to, get impatient and just try to go for a push 2 seconds into the game. They definitely waited till the time was right, and they made the most out of that. And yeah, I think a comeback is definitely possible here. Going to Hacklefish Market, though, this is another kind of Mahi Barnacle-esque map where I feel like AoE isn't quite as strong. So honestly, I think Rewind could very well have the advantage here.
Rewind can definitely have an advantage here, though, too. That being said, Xiphias has shown us that they're very good at these positions where you need to play in one spot, and zones is a perfect example of that, where you're trying to protect one area, you're trying to stay solid, play it slow, play it safe, and I feel like the mentality of Hagglefish zones may go to Xiphias, but as you say, the weapon comps and how they can coordinate that is in Rewind's favor. So it'll be interesting to see which of these two factors can kind of get a team a win here. And Rewind, especially looking to win this game to, again, be able to tie the set 3-3, whereas Xiphias don't want to lose out in the lead that they've built up so far after those first 3 wins.
For sure, but, you know, considering... Well, I mean, okay, so at the same time, it's zones maps. It's not exactly, you know, Tower or Rainmaker, so this is, I think, by nature of that, going to be a bit more hard-fought, but at the same time, you can very much get a lockout on this map just if you play your cards right. And, you know, Rewind, they have been a whole lot better about taking space as the game has gone on, like as the set has gone on, rather. So I think if they just wait and get that good opening again, like they display that same level of patience, they could definitely have, you know, continued success, you know, on this map. As far as comp changes, though, I've kind of given up on trying to predict things because I'm pretty sure Xiphias has pulled out something completely different every single game. I mean, I could predict something just completely out of nowhere, but I don't know. My only concern is what if, you know, Rewind continues to switch out people, because, yeah, Zedro did definitely a good job on, you know, TC Manta, or Rainmaker Manta, excuse me. But, you know, definitely Ray was doing a good job on that brush as well. Potentially also, you know, this is another map where, you know, you're going to see a lot of sharking from the Carbon and the Gal and all those people. So that could potentially be, you know, it could be good to bring that brush back for that reason.
And similarly, this could be also a great place for Xiphias to bring back their Explosion. It has a lot of range, able to paint the zone fairly quickly, fairly easily. It has that splashdown for those aggressive front lines from Rewind that want to get up into their space. And we know that Xiphias has been able to play with that range that they've been having over Rewind fairly well, and it did them really well in the previous zones game we've seen on Mahi Resort. So again, both teams have a lot of options here, and again, with 6 players per roster, they have even more options than what a 4-person roster could bring. As we do finally see, we're getting back into the game. Zedro staying in instead of Ray on the side of Rewind, and on Xiphias, they're bringing back Jose with that Carbon and bringing the Hydra this time. So they're really opting for that range and bringing the screen with it as well on the custom Hydra specifically. And we see again the same comp we saw last game from Rewind. They're confident in what they played and being that an aggressive team against Xiphias.
Okay, so I was gonna make a mention about the custom Explosion and say like, oh, why are they doing double backline? But like, no, custom Explo, from what I understand, is best played as kind of like a midline option. But no, I have genuinely no idea what they're cooking here. So let's see, I guess. But anyway, we saw an early trade come out between the Dynamo and the Tri-Slosher here. Early zone cap does go to Xiphias here, but Rewind is doing a good job of contesting it here. You see the Crab Tank come out. That is 2 down. Now is a solid time for them to start pushing up. We see the Delphin distracted it. Cedro has raised with no time pushing up, but Jose is behind them, but Cedro is able to stop it, and they will extend their lead even further. And the tactical alert allows them to play even more aggressive here. E-Man goes down. That's definitely something you want to see. The screen comes out, able to, you know, stop them at least a little bit here, but that isn't really stopping them from pushing ahead. We see Omega is all the way pushed up in the base and is not slowing down for anybody. Able to, okay, that didn't get quite the well-string, but still, down to 50 already. This is a good spot to be in, but it seems like Xiphias is starting to respond here. But they stop the Trizuka before it can get as much damage as possible done, and the Crab Tank is still up here.
We see the members of Rewind going down one by one, but they still are able to hold Xiphias out and buying time, and that may just be the strategy, is just distract them by giving them free picks, but not actually letting them get to the zone. There's only 7 ticks left. Jose trying to get to the zone, and Xiphias just needs to paint. There's only 1 tick left, and Rewind just KOing fairly quickly and taking this game, and just being so much more confident than they were in some of these previous matches. And again, with that switch to Zedra from Ray, Zedra's been playing very well on that Vanilla Slosher. They've had, from what little we've seen of them, they've been able to react to calls very quickly and get a couple of good picks. We saw that long flank from Jose. Zedra whipped their head around, got the pick, and just kept holding forward. And very confident gameplay from Rewind, bringing them to 3-3 in the set. It's now basically a reset. It is 0-0 in their minds.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see where they go from here because, you know, Xiphius came in so confident in the beginning of the set, but can't imagine they feel so hot now. And honestly, I think, you know, Rewind played this just about perfectly. We saw Jose come in for a shark here, and it seemed like they had the potential to get at least one pick, but you see they kind of got, they got snuffed out for one, but also it just kind of took them a little bit too long to get that pick, and that definitely kind of slowed them down. But honestly, even if they had gotten that, I'm not entirely sure they would have been able to paint the zone in time because, you know, they had pretty much all of mid on lock. So, I don't know. Definitely, Xiphius are now kind of in the position of they played a little bit too hastily, and it was kind of costing them. But once again, it's time for TC Mako, and this is like, I know I said that Rainmaker Manta is like the bucket map, but I lied. This is the bucket map. E-Man, I'm certain, is going to have a great time on this map. So, you know, as long as he can lead the charge and, you know, drop another 30 bomb, I think Xiphius is going to be in a solid position here. But at the same time, Rewind, they've got this new momentum, so you can't really count them out at all, ever.
Not only does Rewind have this new momentum, they have Zedra, a very solid V-Slosh player, coming in on their side, and especially with the strikes and the bombs, it is a very strong kit for tower. So this could come down to E-Man versus Zedra, which player is able to play that slosher more aggressively and better and do more for their team. But we also can't discredit the rest of these rosters. Again, we've seen a lot of strong players able to get in and cause distractions, people able to control a lot of space, and we're going to see how these teams can coordinate the resources they have. We do see Zedra and E-Man on both sides, so they are bringing the buckets most likely, and we're going to see these comps coming in here. As now Xiphius is running a Decavitator with the bubble and a custom range blaster, so bringing the crack in the bubble, and we see Rewind coming in, again, the same comp they ran the last two games, so Xiphius definitely making a lot of adjustments specifically for the map and mode, whereas Rewind are just running what they've been running because it's been working.
Yeah, I kind of glossed over the fact that they swapped Jose back in the last game, but yeah, now they have taken up Tri-Slosher duty with E-Man kind of taking this other AoE weapon. Rewind does touch tower first, but oh my goodness.
Very interesting swap here from Xiphius, putting Jose in that bucket and putting E-Man onto that decav. I didn't even notice that because I just kind of assumed when I saw the bucket to be E-Man, though. Xiphius getting a very solid opening push, managing to get past that first checkpoint, which fairly important checkpoint, though. This second one is the very, very hard position to push through because you're in kind of an awkward spot where you're surrounded by the enemy team, but already getting to that checkpoint. Rewind trying to push Xiphius out. We see Reese here trying to get set up in a good position, though. Sluggy able to pressure with that bow, and Xiphius not letting go of this grasp they have, though they aren't able to really push the tower much further than getting to that second checkpoint.
Yeah, now with the Kraken up here, Rewind really can't play safe at all. I have to imagine that the whole mint decav pick was possibly just a comfort thing. With Jose switching onto the Tri-Slosher, like, they have the mechanics to just play anything of that sort, so I figured, you know, it's like, well, I think this could work, why not give it a try? And, I mean, it's working out for them thus far. They got down to 42 in like a minute, and they seem to be pretty close to extending this lead here. And the bubble, there's not a whole lot you can do about that, as all of the members of Rewind are a fair away from their specials. But Omega here is behind them. This could potentially be a huge pinch here. They do get one down, and that's a wipeout now. But it's down to 19, and look how little of Xiphius' side of the map is painted. They've got to move up and get some pressure applied as soon as possible.
That is one advantage that Rewind has, is that Xiphius is going to have a harder time defending because they haven't built up that defensive paint layer yet. Though Xiphius already getting back to mid, going 2 members down, though. They tried to get back before they needed to paint their own base, and Rewind taking a good position. Xiphius is going to have to set up for the defense here. They may have to give up this first checkpoint just so they can set up and prepare to focus on this second check, as Rewind does get the first checkpoint. We see E-Man walking in, as well as Jose trying to get this tower together. Jose going down, E-Man still there and getting picked off as well. Rewind are just trying to collapse onto Xiphius and not let them get any footing here, as they try to keep getting more picks, though. Xiphius does manage to break out, manage to get a couple down. Reese is the last one alive as we see the rest of Rewind respawning and Xiphius taking the map back.
Yeah, Omega was really turning up the heat there, getting picks on both the decav and the try, which were like the main weapons that could stop it, but E-Man retaliates heavily with that kill on the wall, and not quite able to bring down Zedro as well, but still, 2 down on the side of Rewind. It's not a great position to be in here, and they are trying to stare down a Range Blaster, unfortunately getting called out. The Range Blaster on the side of Xiphius is holding a pretty solid position here. E-Man trying to take the fight, but at the same time, they're in a pretty weak spot here as Omega is now forced to hide away from the Kraken here. They're just kind of staring down mid at their, by themselves, as E-Man and Jose call them out here. It's 2 down on the side of Rewind here, and it seems like Xiphius is in a pretty solid position to push up here, but Peaches getting a nice pick on the Tri-Slosher. It's 2 down on the side of Xiphius now. They can very easily retaliate from this, but it's less than 90 seconds, so they've got to get moving.
Yeah, Rewind now do have control of the map thanks to that double kill from the Dynamo there. And now they're still continuing to push up. Peaches does actually, I think, get a trade there. The last member of Rewind, Reese, has to jump out, and unfortunately, Rewind couldn't get the position that they wanted to from that mid-pressure. And with a minute left now, Xiphius are taking the map. Rewind trying to walk in as quick as they can and throwing those strikes out to try to get some space, but only getting one member forward, and that member does go down, so unfortunately Zedro not getting as much value as they wanted. Rewind trying to just forcibly move this tower forward, though the Kraken does come for the tower. They do manage to push it off and kind of pressure it a bit. The Crab actually taming the Kraken, not getting any kills, and then Peaches does take it down. Rewind hopefully in a good position here. They're trying to just upkeep this pressure, but Xiphius is matching that pace, and this tower is just not moving from it.
Yeah, the Range Blaster and the Wellstring on the side of Xiphius have been synergizing like crazy. They just keep stopping every single push. But 2 down on the side of Xiphius. The Dynamo does go down, but it's unclear who's behind them. Omega might be able to make this jump and get some damage done in their spawn as E-Man on the decav goes down. They really want to take out this Range Blaster. It's just Zedro left alive. Unclear where he is. That's Xiphius going to be touching the tower, and that will be them sealing away that to go up 4-3.
Yeah, you can see Rewind tried to coordinate their specials there to get that overtime push going, but Xiphius able to get the picks on the tower, able to get through that crab and wait out those strikes and just make it to the tower. So it's one of those spots where you know that Rewind could definitely push that lead, but when you're in overtime, all it takes is one mistake and letting the opponent touch the tower a single time, and that kills the entire run and gives them the set or the match. So we do see, yes, Xiphius taking game 8 here. If I can do, no, I can't do math. Game 7. So now it's 4-3 for Xiphius. So they're on set point here.
Yeah, but at the same time, given how the set has been playing out so far, I wouldn't rule out that it could go on a bit longer. But yeah, we see here all the members of Rewind, unfortunately, kind of clustered. And when you're fighting weapons like Wellstring, Range Blaster, Tri-Slosher, that's exactly what you don't want to do. So, I mean, I can see the vision, but it just kind of didn't really pan out. But again, going on to Inkblot Clan Blitz, and this is kind of another one of those, split maps where I don't really think it's going to favor one team or the other here. I think if Rewind just kind of reels it back and plays it a bit more patient, they could definitely extend the set out just a bit further.
And especially where we are this far in the set, both these teams are starting to kind of learn each other and how they play and see what kind of things they want to bring out. I guess the main thing is that with Xiphius, that they keep bringing out different weapons all the time and changing things up completely. We've seen, I believe in all 7 games, we've seen at least one unique weapon coming out every time. So maybe that's the formula that Xiphius might need, is they need to keep just Rewind on their toes, whereas Rewind keeps bringing the same comps over and over and over, that Xiphius is able to kind of learn how they control the space and maybe able to push them out here. Though, again, with this clan blitz mode, it's very important to control the clan economy and to be able to pass clans and work together. It's a very involved mode compared to some of the other ones and requires a lot more coordination and planning sometimes with some of these pushes.
Definitely. Kind of curious to see if we'll see that carbon make a comeback as well, because Inkblot, one of its defining features is just having that ledge that you can so easily shark. Uh, Moving into the match now, I suppose we will see here, but yeah. In kind of a similar vein, Peach's Dynamo, I think, could be very strong for that same reason, but regardless, we've got the same Decav and Tri coming out, as well as a Forge Pro on the side of Xiphius. They're just not letting up with this whole thing of, like, oh yeah, trying to keep them on their toes. And I can kind of see the vision. The Booyah could maybe, start/elongate a push. I don't see how Machine wouldn't also do that, and he pulled that out. But regardless, I won't question it. I'll only commentate it. Jose here on the Tri-Slusher able to get a nice opening pick. That's 2 down on the side of Rewind already, and Jose's all the way in their spawn, able to take out the backline as well, but Zedro makes a solid, rotation here. But at the same time, like, they're all the way up in Rewind spawn at the moment. They're just waiting for the clams.
Yeah, E-Man able to out-rotate Zedro's rotation, does get it and pushes them into their base, though. Again, no power clam yet. They are passing clams, but Smoky Ant isn't in a position to grab them, and Zedro's pushing them. They do now make the power clam believe, and they're going to try to score this, and they do, but it took a little bit here for Xiphius to actually break that barrier. They've been in the space for so long, and that comes down to being able to control the economy and just the luck of the spawns. Then we see E-Man just trying to ledge camp, trying to apply some pressure. Only 2 clams after the break from Xiphius, so not the kind of push you want to see, but it's still a push nonetheless. So they have to try to buy some space and continue this pressure, but, Rewind, if they're able to make another power clam, could very easily take the lead in, two single balls.
Yeah, Omega got a nice trade there at the moment. It's a 2v2 situation. The members of Xiphius, though, are kind of playing it safe at the moment. Peaches getting a trade, but, now it's the members of Rewind who are just kind of playing a bit conservatively at the moment. Mid-control fairly split. Omega's trying to move forward a little bit, but again, the Wellstring and those Fizzy Bombs are going to be pitching him out quite a bit here. E-Man and Jose on top of each other, able to stop the Dynamo on the side of Rewind fairly quickly here. Xiphius could very well start a push here, but Ree's able to stop it. But the bubble is there, and also all 3 members of Xiphius are all up on their spawn, and that's going to be almost certainly another push beginning for Xiphius.
Yeah, a much more convincing push here is already down to 49, which can be kind of a scary number. And yeah, we see Xiphius working very well to get in, as you mentioned, Jose and E-Man working together to get to coordinate with their bucket and their decav, though. That does end the push there. Rewind able to try to control their plat here. They do it 2 members down, so they're not in a danger yet, as Xiphius just has complete map control. There's less than half the game left, and they're just trying to slowly pick away at Rewind, and they're back to their original form of buying as much time as possible after a solid opening and just not letting Rewind play the game they want to play.
Yeah, Peaches, though, got another trade here, which, getting trades is cool because you're slowing down the, opponent's team, but you're also slowing yourself down. But at the same time, mid-control slowly fading into the favor of Rewind here, and they've got 2 balls up ready. It's not going to be enough to take lead, but, it's a pretty solid start here. But E-Man here sharking. You're never safe when E-Man or Jose are sharking, but I'm pretty sure Omega snuffed it out. But they stop it. Peaches, I believe, getting the pick there, but they get stuck on top of the Booyah Bomb. I don't know. Rewind still has kind of a man advantage here, as they're just kind of holding back with all their specials at the moment. The Crab comes out, but that's 2 down on the side of Rewind, as E-Man goes for it and is able to get a triple off of that, I believe. So now Rewind has to once again kind of play safe. But the members of Xiphius have pushed in and pinched, and they have enough clams to potentially start a push once they kind of shuffle them around a bit.
Xiphius, again, just trying to buy some time. They manage to get those picks, and they just sit there and camp those 2 power clams, make sure that Rewind can't keep them, so they can't form a solid push as quickly as they'd like to. And now Xiphius are going 3 down. Smoky Ants, the last one, does drop and tries to push forward and try to just buy some time, I guess, for the rest of the team to spawn, but it may have been better to try to stay alive and actually get a Booyah Bomb ready, as Rewind able to break in because they got all the members down. And now Peach is trying to hold up the plat here with the Dynamo, trying to slowly put these clams in to buy their team time to get more clams to continue this push. They do miss the clam they threw, and Jose able to drop in, push up the crab, manage to get the pick on Zedro, and stopping that push after only 1 clam. a bit of a scary spot for Rewind. They do get another power clam, so they will have an overtime if they're able to hold this, but they still need a very solid push after they're able to get back in.
Yeah, Jose bringing down Omega there was potentially huge, but they do go down as well. Rewind has pretty solid mid control at the moment, but if they can get a pick on kind of the well string in particular, that could potentially be a huge opening for them. They did bring one down at the moment. E-Man here, though, again, it's never really safe when they're there. Tri-Slusher does come out. Omega does go down. Tri-Strikes don't really get a whole lot done. It is overtime now. E-Man gets another pick. Someone's on top of the block. Peaches goes down just in time. E-Man forcing back Rees. They do get another pick. Omega, are they able to get in time? Jose is able to stop it. That's overtime ending. They aren't able to throw the clam, and that's Xiphius taking that game and taking the set. They're going to Div 7 finals.
E-Man coming in very clutch at the end of that game for Xiphius, managing to get a lot of very important picks there as Rewind had enough clams across their roster to take the lead, but E-Man's picking down Zedra, who had 7 clams ready to go, managing to pick off the power clam holder as well, and then just walking forward and causing a distraction for the last 2 members of Rewind. So very important position there. And as you say, Xiphius does take this set 5-3, and they're going to your finals for Div 7 for Season 15 of Ludi. And very well done from both teams. A lot of very good things coming out from both sides.
Yeah, I think this has been one of the most fun sets I've commentated in a hot minute. Honestly, like, given how the set kind of started, I didn't expect it to end up getting so competitive, but I was just really impressed with a lot of plays that Rewind came through. Xiphius, though, definitely didn't let themselves get totally discouraged, after kind of that set basically reset, as it were. It's kind of funny how it turned from, like, I don't know what I was going to say. But yeah, Xiphius, definitely hats off to them for being, flexible throughout and not really getting discouraged.
Yeah, they definitely gave us a great storyline here. Again, Xiphius taking those first 3 games and proving that they were the team that were more solid in how they played and were always a step ahead. And then Rewind said, no, we're still here to play. And they took 3 games of their own, and then Xiphius flipped the script again and just, they seemed unfazed by what Rewind brought in games 4 through 6. And yeah, ultimately taking the set, but very different playstyles from both teams and very different mentalities. You can see a lot of switching from Xiphius versus a lot of consistency from Rewind. So it's nice to see that both these teams can play so differently, but still be so neck and neck.
Definitely. And, I don't think we're doing bronze matches at this point anymore, like we didn't last season, but still, Rewind, like, if they were able to arrange that, I'm sure they'd do pretty well if this set is any indication, because, Xiphius has been winning a lot of their sets consistently, like, putting them away early. Rewind's wins have been a bit more, like, well fought, so to speak. They tend to happen, like, in the late stages of the set, but, taking a team like this to a game 8 is definitely, commendable. So hats off to both teams, but excited to see Xiphius in grand finals as well.
And with that being said, yes, Xiphius are going to the grand finals of Div 7 of Ludi, though that is all we have for tonight for this set, though we do have some more matches coming up this weekend. Tomorrow on Sunday, I believe we have 4 matches will be coming up. I don't have the exact list of what matches will be coming up. I'm not sure if they were announced yet, but I believe the first match will be at 2:30 EST, so make sure to wake up in time for that. Don't stay up too late tonight so you can be able to see some more action tomorrow. With that being said, Riley, where can everyone on the internet find you?
Well, I don't want everyone on the internet finding me, but if you're in the chat right now, you can find me on Twitter at BuffSplashdown, where I post, and that's it. That's all I do, but I do commentate occasionally, and you will be seeing me at Riptide also if you're into that kind of thing. So where can the people find you?
You can find me most social media platforms and basically everywhere at Hammy in the Wall. You can also find me on Discord at HITW, just the acronym. It's way too long. And yeah, I do a variety of stuff, not too often though. And you can also find me at Riptide as well. I will be going. It's going to be very excited. I'm going to be playing with a pickup up form with the Whip Rays. It'll be very fun. And I'm excited to see people there. But that being said, that's all we have for tonight. Riley, thank you for commentating with me. It's been a fun time. We Like Rice, thank you for streaming and spec camming. It's very thankless work, and we always appreciate it. And to all of you in the chat, thank you for watching. Congratulations to Ziphius. Very strong effort from Rewind. We're glad to get to see you, to be able to watch you. And that being said, please come back tomorrow for 4 different matches throughout the day of Ludi Tonight. And thank you all for watching. And this has been Ludi Tonight on SplatoonTourney.